The diplomatic vessel Meridian's Hope shuddered violently as it plunged through Kither Prime's atmosphere, its hull screaming against the planet's crimson sandstorm. Captain Jace Meridian fought desperately with the controls, his knuckles white, as emergency alarms blared around him. A mission was supposed to be simple: establish first contact with the Cytherian civilization and negotiate mining rights for rare crystals. Instead, his ship was becoming a meteor. "Mayday, Mayday," he transmitted into static. "This is Captain Meridian of the Terran Diplomatic Corps. We are going down on Kither Prime." "Repeat, we are—" The transmission cut as his ship slammed into a crystalline formation, sending shards of purple rock cascading like deadly rain. Jace's head struck the console, and darkness claimed him as his vessel settled into the alien desert, smoking and broken. When consciousness returned, it came in waves of warmth and strange sensations. Jace felt as though he were floating in liquid starlight, his pain ebbing away like tide from shore. His eyes fluttered open to find himself in a chamber carved from living crystal, its walls pulsing with soft, bioluminescent patterns. The air tasted of ozone and something sweetly floral. "You wake," came a voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I feared your life essence was too damaged." Jace turned his head and gasped. Beside him knelt a being of impossible beauty, tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer between silver and pearl. Her eyes were large and luminous, shifting from deep violet to warm amber as she observed him. Delicate patterns of light danced beneath her translucent skin, and her hair moved as if underwater, defying gravity. "I am Nyxandra," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in his chest. "I am a healer of the Cytherian people. You crashed near our sanctuary." Jace tried to sit up, but her hand pressed gently against his chest. The moment her palm made contact with his skin, he felt a jolt of electricity, not painful, but intensely intimate. Images flashed through his mind: concern, curiosity, and something that might have been wonder. What did you to me?" he whispered. His voice hoarse. Nyxandra's bioluminescent patterns flickered with what he somehow understood was embarrassment. "Forgive me. My people communicate through touch, sharing emotions and memories. I did not mean to intrude, but your injuries were severe. I had to know your physical structure to heal you properly." She withdrew her hand, and Jace immediately missed the connection. "Heal me how? Among my people, healing is an intimate act. We share our life force, our warmth, our very essence with those who are wounded." Her patterns shifted to a warmer hue. "You have been unconscious for 3 days. I have been with you, sharing my energy to keep you alive." Jace's breath caught as he realized what she meant. This beautiful alien had been caring for him, touching him, sharing something profound while he lay helpless. The thought should have disturbed him, but instead he felt a deep gratitude that transcended language. "Why?" he asked, simply. Nyxandra's luminous eyes met his. "Because all life is precious. Because you were alone and afraid, even in unconsciousness. Because ... She paused, her skin flaring with conflicting patterns. "Because touching your mind showed me wonders I never imagined." Outside, the crimson winds of Kither Prime howled against the crystal walls. But inside their sanctuary, something new and dangerous was beginning to bloom. A connection that would challenge everything both their species believed about love, loyalty, and the spaces between souls. The days that followed blurred together in a haze of discovery and growing intimacy. Jace learned that the Cytherians lived in harmony with their crystal environment, their cities grown rather than built, their technology bioluminescent and alive. Nyxandra proved to be an endlessly patient teacher, her touch translating concepts that words could never convey. "Show me your world," she whispered one evening as they sat together in her private chamber. The walls responded to her emotions, glowing warmer as she reached for his hand. The moment their fingers intertwined, Jace felt her consciousness brush against his. He shared memories of earth rain on green leaves, the sound of laughter, the warmth of sunlight on skin. Nyxandra gasped, her patterns flaring brilliant gold. Such chaos, she breathed, but her tone held wonder rather than revulsion. Such ... life. My people have forgotten how to feel so intensely. Jace squeezed her hand gently. What do you mean? Through their connection, she showed him Cytherian society ordered, ritualistic, beautiful, but sterile. Emotions were controlled, passion subdued, individual desires subordinated to collective harmony. We achieved perfect peace by sacrificing the fire that makes life worth living. Until now, Jace murmured, bringing their joined hands to his lips. When he kissed her knuckles, Nyxandra's entire form blazed with light. Their moment was shattered. By the arrival of Elder Kethvar, his ancient form wreathed in cold blue radiance. Nyxandra snatched her hand away, but it was too late. The Elder's telepathic senses had already detected their bond. Nyxandra, his voice carried the weight of millennia. You have allowed yourself to become compromised by this alien. Elder Kethvar, she rose gracefully, her patterns shifting to formal purple. I have healed him as our laws require. Nothing more. Do not lie to one who taught you to share truth through touch. The Elder's eyes glowed with disappointment. I can feel the resonance between you. You have bonded with this creature. Jace stood, placing himself slightly in front of Nyxandra. With respect, Elder, I'm not a creature. I'm a man who's grateful for your healer's kindness. Kethvar's attention fixed on him with uncomfortable intensity. You do not understand what you have done, human. Among our people, the deep bonding of consciousness is reserved for life mates. It is not given lightly, nor easily broken. I didn't know, Jace said, but even as he spoke, he realized part of him had known. The intimacy they shared went beyond. Healing beyond gratitude. It was soul deep and growing stronger. The damage may already be irreversible, Kethvar continued. If she has truly bonded with you, Nyxandra will never be able to connect properly with her own kind again. You have doomed her to isolation. Nyxandra stepped forward, her skin blazing with defiant silver. The choice was mine, Elder. And I would make it again. Then you choose exile. Kethvar's voice was heavy with sorrow. The Council will not permit a bonded healer to remain among us, especially one bound to an alien. You threaten the very foundation of our society. After the Elder left, Nyxandra and Jace stood in silence, the weight of consequences settling between them. Finally, she turned to him, her patterns shifting through every color of emotion. Do you regret it? She asked quietly. Jec cupped her face in his hands, marveling at the way her skin responded to his touch. Never, but I won't let you sacrifice. Everything for me, and I will not let you sacrifice yourself for my fears, she replied, leaning into his touch. Whatever comes, we face it together. When she kissed him, it was like touching lightning. Their minds merged completely, and for a moment, they were one being experiencing love for the first time in two different hearts. The weeks that followed their confrontation with Elder Kethvar were both blissful and fraught with tension. Nyxandra continued her healing work, but Jace could see the way other Cytherians watched them, some with curiosity, others with open hostility. Their bond had become an open secret, a scandal that threatened the careful order of their society. Teach me your healing arts, Jace requested one morning as they walked through the crystal gardens. The formations here grew in impossible spirals, their surfaces reflecting the planet's crimson sky in fractal patterns. Nyxandra's patterns shifted to surprise. It is not possible. Healing requires the ability to share life force, to touch another's essence. Your species lacks this gift. Maybe, Jace said, taking her hand. But I can learn to receive what you share. I can become a bridge between our peoples. She stopped walking, her luminous eyes searching his face. You would do this, knowing it would change you forever? I've been changed since the moment I met you, he replied, pulling her closer. Show me. What followed was the most intimate experience of Jace's life. Nixandra guided him through meditation techniques that opened his mind to her telepathic touch. Slowly, carefully, she began to share not just memories and emotions, but the very essence of her being. Jace felt his consciousness expand, becoming aware of the living crystal around them, the subtle energy flows that connected all life on Kither Prime. I can feel them, he whispered in wonder. Your people, the crystals, everything. It's all connected. Yes, Nixandra breathed, her skin radiant with joy. Now you understand why our bond is so dangerous. If others could achieve this connection, it would transform both our species. Their training sessions became a daily ritual, each one bringing them closer. Jace learned to project his own emotions and memories, sharing human experiences that left Nixandra breathless with wonder. She showed him the deep history of her people, the wars that had led to their current isolation, the fears that kept them from reaching out to the stars. It was during one such session that they were interrupted by the arrival of the human search team. Jace felt their approach first, a harsh mechanical discord against the harmonious background of Kitherian consciousness. They're here, he said, his heart sinking. Zara Kane, the team leader, was everything Jace had expected: efficient, professional, and utterly ruthless. She entered the crystal chamber with her weapons drawn, her squad flanking her in perfect formation. Captain Meridian, she said, her voice cutting through the chamber's gentle ambience like a blade. By order of the Terran Council, you are to return to Earth immediately for debriefing. Jace stood slowly, keeping Nixandra behind him. Hello, Zara. Still charming as ever. This is not a social call. Zara's eyes flicked to Nixandra, her expression hardening. Step away from the alien, Captain. Our xenobiologists need to examine it for potential contamination. Her name is Nixandra, Jace said coldly. And she's not going anywhere. Zara's hand moved to her sidearm. You've been compromised, Jace. These creatures have some kind of telepathic influence. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I ever have, Jace replied, reaching back to take Nixandra's hand. The moment their skin touched, he felt her fear and determination flow through him, strengthening his resolve. Don't make this difficult, Zara warned. We have our orders. So do I, Jace said firmly. I'm the diplomatic representative to this world. My mission is to establish peaceful relations with the Kitherian people. That's exactly what I'm doing. As tensions escalated, Nixandra stepped forward, her patterns shifting to diplomatic blue. Perhaps we can find a solution that serves both our people's interests. But Jace could feel the distrust radiating from the human team, just as he sensed the fear and anger building in the Kitherian population outside. Two worlds were about to collide, and he and Nixandra stood at the epicenter of the coming storm. The arrival of Commander Thorne 3 days later shattered any hope of peaceful resolution. The grizzled military veteran brought with him a full battalion and orders that brooked no argument. Jace was to be extracted immediately, and the Kitherian threat was to be assessed for potential military action. You've gone native, Captain, Thorne said bluntly as his troops surrounded the crystal sanctuary. Happens to the best of us in first contact situations. Nothing to be ashamed of. Jace stood beside Nixandra in the chamber's center, their hands clasped as Kitherians and humans faced each other with growing hostility. I haven't gone native, Commander. I've found something worth protecting. That thing? Thorn gestured dismissively at Nixandra. Our scientists have been studying the footage from Kane's team. It's some kind of psychic parasite, feeding off human emotional energy. You're being used, son. Nixandra's patterns flared with indignation, but Jace squeezed her hand gently. Through their bond, he felt her pain at being called a parasite, her anger at the human's willful ignorance. She's not a parasite, Jace said firmly. She's a healer. She saved my life. By addicting you to her touch, Thorn countered. Look at yourself, Captain. When's the last time you've eaten human food? Slept without her presence? You're completely dependent on this alien influence. Doubt crept into Jace's mind. It was true that he felt most alive when connected to Nixandra. That separation from her left him feeling hollow and incomplete. But was that addiction, or was it love? As if sensing his uncertainty, Nixandra turned to him, her eyes luminous with unshed tears. If you doubt what we share, I can sever the bond. It will be painful, but you will be free to return to your people. No, Jace said immediately, then caught himself. Was his response his own choice, or was he being influenced? Elder Kethver chose that moment to arrive with a delegation of Kitherian council members. The human speaks truth, he announced, his aged voice carrying across the chamber. Nixandra has indeed bonded with this alien in ways that threaten our society's stability. She must be exiled. Finally, some sense, Thorn muttered, but Kethver wasn't finished. However, the elder continued, the human has also been changed by the bonding. His mind now carries Kitherian patterns. He cannot simply return to his people without consequences. What kind of consequences? Zara asked sharply. He will experience increasing mental instability as he distances himself from our world, Kethve explained. Eventually, complete psychological breakdown. The only options are permanent exile here, or death. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Jace felt Nixandra's anguish through their connection, her guilt at having supposedly doomed him. But he also felt something else, a deep, unshakable certainty that what they shared was real and worth any sacrifice. There's a third option, Jace said quietly. We work together to find a solution that serves both our peoples. Impossible, Thorn snapped. Humanity doesn't negotiate with alien influences. Then humanity is about to lose its best chance at understanding a species that could transform our civilization, Jace replied. The Kitherians have abilities we can't even imagine. Healing, telepathy, harmony with their environment. Instead of fearing them, we should be learning from them. Pretty words, Thorn said, raising his weapon. But I have my orders. Step away from the alien, Captain. That's a direct command. Jace looked at Nixandra, seeing his own resolve reflected in her luminous eyes. I'm sorry, Commander, but I can't do that. That night, as both species prepared for what might be their final confrontation, Jace and Nixandra found themselves alone in her private chamber. The walls pulsed with colors. It reflected their turbulent emotions, fear, love, determination, and desperate hope. Whatever happens tomorrow, Nixandra whispered, her skin glowing with soft silver light, I want you to know that our bond has been the greatest gift of my existence. Jace traced the patterns of light beneath her skin, marveling at how they responded to his touch. For me, too, he replied, pulling her closer. I love you, Nixandra. Not because of some alien influence, but because you're the most extraordinary being I've ever met. When they made love that night, it was with the desperate intensity of two souls facing an uncertain future. Their minds merged completely, sharing not just pleasure, but the deep, abiding connection that transcended species barriers. In those moments, they were truly one being, experiencing love in its purest form. Dawn broke over Kither Prime like a wound in the sky, its crimson light painting the assembled forces in shades of blood and war. Humans and Cytherians faced each other across the crystal plaza, weapons drawn, powers crackling with deadly potential. Jace stood in the center with Nyxandra, their hands clasped as they prepared to make their final stand. "Last chance, Captain," Commander Thorne called out. "Step away from the alien and return to your people." "I am with my people," Jace replied, his voice carrying clearly across the plaza, both of them. It was then that salvation came from an unexpected source. A group of young Cytherians, led by a brilliant-eyed female named Velsina, emerged from the crystal formations surrounding the plaza. Their patterns blazed with rebellious gold as they positioned themselves between the two armed forces. "Enough," Velsina declared, her voice harmonizing with her companions. "We will not allow this conflict to destroy what could be the beginning of a new age." Elder Kethfor's patterns flared with anger. "You dare defy the Council's decision?" "We dare to choose growth over stagnation," Velsina replied. "These two have shown us what we could become if we embrace change instead of fearing it." Jace felt a surge of hope as more young Cytherians joined the rebels, their combined presence creating a barrier of light between the opposing forces. But it was Zara Kane who provided the breakthrough that changed everything. "Wait," she said, lowering her weapon. "I've been monitoring the telepathic resonance between the captain and the alien. It's not parasitic, it's symbiotic. They're enhancing each other's abilities." Commander Thorne glared at her. "Explain." "The captain's human creativity and adaptability are being amplified by the alien's telepathic gifts," Zara continued, her scientific mind overriding her military conditioning. "Meanwhile, she's learning to experience emotions and sensations that her people have suppressed for millennia. They're evolving together." "Evolution or contamination," Thorne muttered, but his grip on his weapon had loosened. Nyxandra stepped forward, her patterns shifting to diplomatic blue. "If you would permit it, I can show you what we have learned. All of you." "It's a trap," one of the human soldiers warned, but Jace shook his head. "It's an opportunity," he said. "The first real chance for our species to understand each other." What followed was the most remarkable demonstration of telepathic diplomacy in recorded history. With Jace as a bridge, Nyxandra carefully opened her mind to the assembled humans and Cytherians, sharing not just thoughts and emotions, but the deep understanding that came from their unique bond. The humans experienced the beauty of Cytherian harmony, the peace that came from true connection with their environment and each other. The Cytherians, in turn, felt the wild joy of human creativity, the passionate intensity that had driven their species to explore the stars. "This is what we could achieve together," Jace said as the demonstration concluded. "Not conquest or submission, but partnership. Evolution." Commander Thorne was the first to lower his weapon completely. "I've seen enough," he said gruffly. "This needs to go to the Council." Both councils? In the months that followed, Jace and Nyxandra became the first ambassadors of what would eventually be known as the Synthesis Project, a joint human Cytherian initiative to explore the possibilities of telepathic bonding between species. Their love story became the foundation for a new chapter in galactic history. They built their home in the crystal gardens of Kither Prime, where the walls pulsed with the colors of their shared emotions and human laughter, mingled with Cytherian harmonies. Visitors from both worlds came to study their unique relationship. But for Jace and Nyxandra, the most important discovery was the simplest one, that love, in all its forms, was truly universal. On quiet evenings, when the crimson sun set over their crystal home, they would sit together in perfect harmony, their minds and hearts connected across the vast spaces between species. In those moments, they were living proof that the greatest adventures begin not with conquest, but with the courage to reach out and touch another soul. Their bond had become a beacon of hope, a whisper in the crimson dawn that promised a future where differences were celebrated rather than feared, and where love could bridge any gap, even the one between the stars.